What's up, y'all? I'm Chris. This is my boy DeVon. He's gonna be on
What's going on,
this
everybody?
podcast with us. We're gonna be doing episode 2. We're gonna be talking about Black Panther 2: Wakanda Forever. So, yeah, me and DeVon, we go way back, all the way since like second, third grade, and we've been watching movies just as long as me and D have.
At least we got the same
So,
taste,
yeah, because sometimes
similar taste.
your mind would say some outlandish stuff, but we usually in sync. So hopefully we still keep this interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So first we want to talk about Black Panther 1. Give a little recap in case y'all forget. Um, so in Black Panther 1, we had Chadwick Boseman. He was T'Challa. His dad had just died. We saw that in Civil War, and so he was taking on the mantle as a new Black Panther, the new king. It was kind of a coming of age for an older gentleman because he was like in his 40s. But we see him just now take the throne, and they almost immediately he's challenged by his cousin, who was later revealed as cousin, Eric Killmonger, who's saying like his dad was murdered by his father. So they were brothers. His dad killed him because he was a traitor to Wakanda, and so now he wants to take his spot on the throne because he felt he was never able to challenge.
Yeah, he felt like he never had the like the actual family right to be able to become somewhat of a king to Wakanda, with him being exiled.
Yeah, so they fight. T'Challa get his ass whooped, thrown off a mountain, because he had the strength of the Black Panther stripped away, and Eric Killmonger, he just like light the whole place on fire. He want to take over the world.
Yeah, he basically he burnt it all in order to make sure that nobody else could gain the power of the Black Panther after him.
He wanted to maintain that superiority, and it also caused like a big rift between like the Wakandans because some wanted to share vibranium and Wakandan resources with the rest of the world. Because he like I've been living in the slums all my life, and you had these resources that could have helped all these Black people around the world, and y'all kept it here. Like what's up with that? So they fought, and Killmonger met his demise, and that's the end of that movie.
So yeah.
So
with this starting up with the new one, I mean, of course, it took a big turn with the way that they wanted to go with the plot and actually the whole phase 5.
I think we're still in 4.
Oh, that was the end of phase 4. You're right. This is phase 5 to start now, right? So it kind of made a whole change in the way that they wanted to go, the direction they wanted to go. But I think that they still did a really good job, even though the untimely demise of Chadwick Boseman actually came about to where he couldn't play the character of T'Challa anymore. And I actually think that before they started production, they weren't really too far into it as well. He couldn't even really read the plot that much before he actually passed away. So it was actually good that they weren't able to start production before he passed away. That way that they didn't have to change too much to the public before they actually, started releasing all of the information for it.
We don't really experience a lot of characters that die. Like I think the last one that was like big, and this was after they filmed it, was like Heath Ledger. I know like when we was in high school, everybody was talking about the Heath Ledger death. I didn't even know who Heath Ledger was outside of the Joker. Right. So like I was glad that I was able to like have more rapport with him with Black Panther. We were just talking about 27 Bridges. He had other movies out there, and he was in more Marvel movies. So, but I think they did a real good job showing his death like early on in the movie, and then making it as close to like reality as possible. So it's not like any fiction. It didn't take away from what happened in real life. So when there was a moment of silence in the theater, it was a moment of silence for the Black Panther, Chadwick Boseman.
Right. So, yeah, they definitely did a good tribute, in my opinion, to him. I haven't really seen many movies that actually take major scenes and actually tribute them to the person who passed away. Normally, you just see kind of like a little monologue at the very end of the movie that says, in memory of, or maybe even in the beginning. But and I'm also happy that they didn't try to go the way that Fast and the Furious did when
use a clone.
Was not necessarily a clone, but yeah, use a clone.
His brother,
yeah,
in CGI.
Brother, yeah, they use CGI and the AI, and then just trying to continue on the same plot that they had with the movie, even though he passed away during production. I mean, I think it was one of those things that it was in the time frame that they experimented with it, and that they could experiment with it, but I don't think everybody took it that well. And so with them not taking it that well, I'm glad that they actually went the route of not trying to include T'Challa in this movie.
Like the fact that he died, it really set the whole plot of the movie also because what is her Shuri got all this anger because she wasn't she's like the best scientist in the world. She, you know, in the first movie she saved the FBI agent, CIA
Mm-hmm.
agent from his spinal injury.
Mm-hmm.
Like she's like, we got all this technology, I could do
Mm-hmm.
anything. But she couldn't save her brother, and because the heart-shaped herb was burned up in the first
Mm-hmm.
movie, she didn't have that resource to give to him to give him his strength back.
Right.
Now we all know in reality he was going to
Mm-hmm.
die because he died,
Mm-hmm.
but um, like you see her struggling with, well, she even makes this line later in the film. She says like, why did the gods give me all these gifts, and my ancestors, why they give me all these gifts if I couldn't use them to save
Yeah,
my
to save
brother?
him, bro.
So she was just struggling with that the whole time,
Mm-hmm.
trying to find strength and
And actually find somewhat of more of a purpose to herself. Because even with her being such a great scientist and having vibranium, it was not much that she could do outside of Wakanda, or more than just creating new inventions and stuff like that, and things that would make fighting in war more efficient if they ever really had to come to fighting somebody else, which that's exactly what this movie was about. So even though you say that she has that problem, and really her ultimate goal was to save her brother so that they could have the Black Panther to protect Wakanda forever or for however long he would. It allowed her to actually sit back and reevaluate what her purpose and what her main goal is in order for her to actually, be able to be more of importance to the Wakanda family instead of her just being a scientist and, her brother sidekick, basically Alfred, if you want to call it that.
oh yeah, yeah, the Robin to his Batman type stuff. Also, excuse my shirt. You got the Black Panther shirt on. I
I
almost
had
had
to
my
come correct,
Suicide Squad
man.
on.
I had to come correct. It's okay though.
Also, shout out to his artwork in the background. Those all D Gully
Yes,
originals.
sir.
That's how you know we serious about the Marvel game.
Yes, yes.
Um, but as far as the plot on this one, so as we already talked about her struggle with this, in the final moments of, was it Civil War or Black Panther where they opened up the resources? I think it was Black Panther where they opened it up.
Where they open up the resources to the rest of the world.
I think it was like a cut scene of Black Panther because it was after they fought, and he was like, "We'll open up and start schools and outreach
Oh, okay.
programs." But then,
Yeah, okay, yeah.
yeah, so it starts off with attack on Wakanda, trying to like, spoiler alert in case y'all wasn't tracking. Um,
Yeah, I wish y'all did see the movie because shoot, it's about to be out
right.
on everything right now.
Um, it starts Black Panther 2 with attack on Wakanda for the resources for vibranium. And then they had a UN meeting as well, like this going back and forth with these soldiers attacking this vibranium outpost lab, and then they're going back to UN. They're like, "Why haven't you given us the vibranium like you said you would share with the world?" And she's like, "Oh, speaking of which," and then rolls in all these like special forces people from France or
Mm-hmm.
something. She's like, "Here's your people. Take that as a warning. Don't mess with us because just because we ain't got our king, just because we ain't got no Black Panther, don't mean that we ain't gonna handle our
Right.
business."
So yeah, they definitely still have their protective services protecting Wakanda. They don't necessarily have like their leader and their king anymore. But yeah, she definitely showed them that uh, they're not to be messed with if somebody was to come. But that sets up the plot for later on in the movie where there is actually a force that is successful enough to really come to Wakanda, and if they would like to take vibranium or actually cause some damage to Wakanda to where they might not even be able to come back as a civilization. So
Mm-hmm.
it was a great way to show their power in the very beginning of the movie, and that they still have power that's stored across the entire world, so that other people can respect them. But once the Atlanteans or the Mayans from Namor finally come about,
Yeah.
then that's when they actually show somewhat of a threat.
So we first get introduced to the Mayans. I can't pronounce it. It's like tug. It's a T
Mm-hmm.
word, but they from a Mayan civilization, um, and it's like a ship that the Americans have that can detect
Hmm.
vibranium, and this is in the middle of the ocean. When they detect, they pretty much stepped on their ground, and they like, oh, y'all in the wrong neck of the woods. So all these like Mayan underwater people come and attack these this
Hmm.
vessel with ease. And so then, since Wakanda is the only place in the world with
Hmm.
vibranium, so everyone
Hmm.
thought, the world starts looking at them saying, "Oh, y'all out here attacking us now because we made this
Hmm.
machine." Um, but then when they go back to Wakanda, Namor has taken the machine from the water and
Placed it.
meets with Shuri and the
Hmm.
Queen, and it's like, y'all need to figure out where this machine came from because this means that my civilization is about to be
Hmm.
uncovered.
Which can definitely cause a rift in everything that's going on above the surface, because they have, so much history and so many people that could actually. I mean, shoot, the world is what, 75% of water, and they can spawn
Hmm.
almost anywhere that there is water. They can make water come from anywhere and just use it as their power. I mean, we all know everybody doesn't know exactly how much, how powerful water really is until it actually, gets to that point. So that was going to be a major threat to either the Wakandans and, the entire world civilization, the U.S. civilization, and the military that was actually starting the problems with Atlantans, or the Mayans anyway.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So he gave them a ultimatum. He say, find the person, the human responsible
Right.
for this, and bring them
Hmm.
to me, and we'll deal
Hmm.
with it. But when they go to find the person, they find out it's MIT student. You know, she's 20 years
Hmm.
old,
Yeah,
21,
kid.
and they like, oh, she's a brilliant black girl. We can't just turn you over to die.
Hmm.
Like, we got to figure out a diplomatic
Right.
solution. So then, as they like retrieving the girl, Riri Williams, who is like super intelligent, she ends up like building her own Iron Man costume and everything. Like she's dope. Um, the Mayans come and attack them as they're like making their escape from the law enforcement, and then they kidnap Riri and
Hmm.
Shuri and take them to their
Hmm.
kingdom.
Right.
So that causes like a big conflict between um,
Wakanda and the Mayans. Hmm.
yeah. So
Because
yeah, that's
basically, when
where
they
this
first
whole
came,
thing
yeah,
comes
when they first came and actually spoke to her, it was one of those things, like you said, they gave her an ultimatum. So with Zuri and them actually figuring out who the girl was and trying to come up with a way to get around it and to escape, it was not enough time. And of course, that's when Mayans, they came to take care of things themselves. So they didn't actually take care of it on land. They went ahead and took them underneath the surface and took them down to their underwater civilization. I guess no, it wasn't called Atlantis, but it was somewhere over in Yucatan, I believe.
Yeah, it's called
Oh, Telecon,
Telecon, but
yeah.
it's like it's just a translation of it. It's still
Hmm.
Atlantis. It's just a Mayan translation
Okay,
to
all right, cool.
Telecon.
So it is
Okay.
Atlantis. All right, bet. So yeah, with them, taking them down to Atlantis, he was also trying to show the importance of their civilization not being found at all. So even though that Zuri and them wanted to protect this girl, he came to them and actually did what he could to show them that it,
What he
yeah,
was
what he was
protecting.
really trying to protect. So at the end of the day, her and what she has going on can ultimately be sacrificed for what I have, because it's something that is just far far more important. Plus, they have pure vibranium, which is vibranium that's way stronger than the vibranium from Wakanda.
Yeah, and he was pretty much sacrificing the one for the many because his whole life, any interaction he's had with people on the
Hmm.
surface was like
Yeah, they
death.
always attacked his
His
people.
mom suffered. Yeah, the conquistadors attacked his mom people. That's how they ended up retreating
Hmm.
underwater when they found the uh, herb they found. And then when he finally came to bury his mom, all he saw was death and more
Hmm.
abuse. So he hated. He was like, "Y'all not finna. If the world knows what's under here, they gonna
Yeah, they're gonna
attack
do
us."
everything they can to get
And
to it.
it's weird because yeah, they so strong though. Like you see what they did to Wakanda. It's like, why is he even afraid? He could easily. Well, he does want to take over the surface world. That's why he wants
Yeah,
Wakanda's
yeah,
help.
yeah. He would like
But
to take over the surface world. Yeah.
yeah, so he appeals to Shuri's like emotional state, shows him like all of Atlantis. He's like, this is my people. It's very beautiful. That brings me to one of the points of Atlantis because you only see it that one time. Who do you think had a better Atlantis, DC or Marvel?
I really liked this Marvel one, and they actually had a chance to do better than what the one from Aquaman. The only thing I didn't really care too much about the Aquaman people is that sometimes it showed them where they were directly underwater, and then it would show parts where it kind of almost seemed like that they weren't underwater at all. They were like talking. You can kind of see bubbles and stuff like that
They made
going on.
air
Yeah, they made
bubble.
air bubbles and
Yeah,
stuff. So it kind of threw me off because I mean, there's just no way that you could even really portray that. I did see how they had things going on with Atlantis, but inside of the Black Panther movie, the only thing about that one is that you couldn't really get a whole grasp of what was down there. All you kind of got to see
yeah.
was just like this big arena. You can kind of see a whole bunch of people doing a whole bunch of different things within it, but you never got to see the grand scheme of things, which made it seem like it was a lot more going on than what we actually got to see.
Yeah, it was kind of weird to me because like when you saw the DC Aquaman Atlantis, it was bright and
Hmm.
vibrant, and me and you saw that together,
Hmm.
and we were like, yeah, that's a
Yeah.
lot. Like not only did they do that, I guess they kind of insulted our intelligence, making us. They made it sound like they was
Hmm.
underwater. We like, bro, we know they underwater. You ain't got to
Yeah.
like. We don't need you to do
You ain't
that.
got to
Like,
get the
what are you
bubbles
doing?
and stuff all up and anything.
But then Marvel kind of pissed me off the opposite way because they ain't speak at all. Really, like only like three people spoke the whole time they was
Hmm.
underwater. I'm like, this is
Hmm.
dark. It was dark. It was boring. And then he like brought up the vibranium sun that
Hmm.
he made, and I was like, okay, this is better. But like, it's a very small amount of you seeing them actually in their element.
Hmm.
So you know, like you said,
It
it's so
was so
much
much going
hidden. So
on,
I think maybe they
so
just
much,
yeah, maybe they saving that for like another
which is
movie.
very
Like
possible.
we'll get to that. But yeah, I just felt like it was a lot not told when they had this beautiful opportunity to tell us like exactly what
Yeah,
he's
what he's
protecting.
protecting. Because I mean, it
Um,
was kind of hard to really understand what was going on unless you knew what Namor was in the beginning. I mean, you seen that he was somewhat of a mutation between um an Atlantean or water person versus a land person. But then, you just really don't understand how he has the powers and the I guess, ability to actually live underwater. And then, everybody was continuing to live underwater because, again, they, left from land to get away from the people who kind of like pushed them away. So, go ahead.
so with that also, so we see two different groups of people get like this herb, this flower from
Hmm.
space. One group decided to share it with
Hmm.
everybody, and one group decided to just give it to a special warrior. Like, which one do you think is right?
Uh, mm, I guess it's okay to give it to everybody and then let a hero emerge instead of
Yeah,
just
because he
picking
was still
one.
the strongest out
He
of
is
all of
the
them.
strongest, yeah. But then
Yeah,
that's because he got the genetics of it too.
yeah, he a mutant as well. He was the first one born of that. But I don't know. I guess they also had like a life threatening condition where they needed to like take the herb, and they shaman was like, take this, and the smallpox will
Hmm.
go away. So they were like driven underwater
Yeah.
by that. But I feel like with the Wakandans, it's like it's something. It's a sense of purity, I guess, in tradition, knowing that all these people have access to this powerful element, and they're like, nah, that's for the Black Panther. Like, only they know a power exists, but only want to have the Black Panther
Hmm.
have it. So I think that
Well,
speaks a
see,
lot to
another
of culture and
I
tradition.
I agree with that. I agree with that because not every there was enough herbs for everybody, and there was people who actually protected the garden, but that was also their way of making it to that astral place where they actually got to see their ancestors and stuff like that.
The
Yeah,
ancestral
the
plane, yeah,
ancestral plane. So, I mean, even though you may have not been the Black Panther or actually gained the powers of being a Black Panther in order to control, I mean, not control, but to protect Wakanda, you still could take that herb and actually get in contact with all of the previous or the people who have moved on in order to gain advice, figure out what you could do in order to, or, be persuaded in order to figure out exactly which ways you want to be able to take care of the Wakanda people. or still get their advice, even though they didn't moved on. So it was pretty cool that they were still able to do
Yeah,
that. I wonder if that's something that Namor might be able to do. Maybe there's something that he created, or maybe there is something that's down there in the water that allows him to still, reach out to people who were here, yeah,
his
his
ancestors.
ancestors, yeah.
So then after we see that, Shuri is finally like, the queen got some help from. She's from the first movie. I forget her name.
The queen from the first movie
She,
of
no, the queen. She got help from like Chadwick's girlfriend.
oh
Uh,
yes, I forget her name too. That's crazy. I forgot her name. But
yeah,
yes, her. The one that
yeah,
who decided to leave.
yeah. She left, but she's good at infiltrating all these different communities and stuff. So Queen is like, "Hey, I need you to go and I need you to um, retrieve Shuri. She's been taken." So she goes down there, gets them out, no problem. But she ends up killing somebody
Hmm.
down there, and that's when everything pop off between Wakanda and uh, the
Hmm.
Atlanteans. So Namor is like, "All right, bet, big bet. You embarrassed me. I showed you all my stuff." So he come and he wreak havoc all over
Oh.
Wakanda. You say black people don't know how to swim? This is proven in this movie.
They get the fuck up out of there, don't they? Because it's funny how they don't know how they got there, but they sure found their way up out of there real
Yeah,
quick. Hey, did you hear where they were saying about deleted scenes that that actually might have been a scene where Namor and Zuri actually had sex with each other? It was supposed to be the first sex scene in the MCU.
really.
That's what I saw. Saw a couple blog sites. I can't source. I'm sorry, but I did see a couple sites talking about where that was, a thing where it may have been where they kind of got intimate with each other. I ain't gonna say they full blown had sex, but they got intimate with each other. So that was another reason why he was really upset about what happened. Because not only did like you said, he showed everything, but he actually started to trust
Was to
and
catch
started to
feelings.
trust the land people. And of course, that happened behind his back, and he truthfully didn't understand what happened either. So,
They come. It's a big old. It's not even a fight. They just come and obliterate Wakanda. And the queen ends up dying trying to save Riri Williams from
hmm.
drowning. And at that point, he's respectful. He's like, "You got a week to bury your loved ones, mourn them, and get ready for us to come and really
Yeah.
mess you up." So at that point, Riri is like, "Bet I'm gonna find a way to." Not Riri, Shuri. She's like, "Me and you, we need to get all the help we
Hmm.
can get. I'm the queen now, and we need to find a way to attack them back." So
Yeah. And so, I mean, I think at this point is when she actually figures a way to create the herb artificially, right? Okay.
yep, she. So when he was down there, like you were saying, it was a connection that they was building, and he ends up giving her his mother's
Yes.
bracelet. Like so, it's
Yes.
important. In that bracelet has fibers of the flower that they
Hmm.
take, and she was able to intermingle that with the herb that she was trying to produce, and it produced
Hmm.
a new herb.
Which allowed her to
So
go to her version of the astral plane, and
and who she
she
see?
unfortunately ended up seeing Killmonger. But it's just funny
Mm-hmm.
too because what makes you think that she saw Killmonger instead of seeing actual ancestors that would be wanting to help her out and actually save Wakanda? What made you think that?
What he did, he see the thing is that I think the ancestral plane is more like a
Okay,
subconscious thing.
I agree.
Um, you, it's tied into like they might actually see those people and get advice, but it's also like kind of like what your brain wants you to
Once it to
see,
see it.
and so she had all that anger like we
Hmm.
talked about, and he had all that anger for the same reasons. He lost somebody
Hmm.
important to him. He wanted the world
Hmm.
to burn. She lost somebody important to her. She wanted Atlantis
Hmm.
to burn. So of course that's who she
Hmm.
connected to most because she knew deep down if she had saw her mom or if she saw T'Challa,
They would have tried to talk her
they'd
out
be
of
like,
it.
"Sure, what you
Hmm.
doing?
They would have
Yeah,
talked her out of
this is not the way." Like
it. You're right.
so,
Yeah, I agree.
so she recreates the her, and then she gets her Black Panther
Hmm.
powers. So, and Riri at the same time makes an Iron Man suit, and they also make some suits for the other two of the
Hmm.
warriors, the soldiers. But we gotta talk about this Iron Man suit, bro. I ain't like
Nah,
it.
I was not a fan of it. I felt like it was way too bulky, man. Especially,
It was too
yeah, it was
bubbly
too bubbly. Too,
because Iron Man, each one of his versions, it goes smaller,
yeah,
smaller, smaller to where it's
Yeah,
coming out
of
of his
course.
clothes. This one, it's her second suit, but still, I think once you've seen that this man has made better mods and you got all of Wakanda technology, why would you make something like she had like a rail gun attached to her arm? I was like, this is stupid. Like, it's not even practical. You're slow. You're useless. The fight, the big fight where she was in the suit, that whole scene, like for the most part, was underwhelming
Yeah,
to
I
me.
feel like it was underwhelming too.
It felt stupid to me.
Yeah, it just felt like they were trying
Like,
to, fill a void, to be honest. And the
mm,
void is, us not having Tony Stark anymore. But we can get past that. We can live through those other movies and still,
the
yeah.
memories, we don't
No,
need
we
new
don't need new
memories.
memories.
And like you were saying, it's almost as bad as like if they were to try to force uh T'Challa in there with
Exactly.
CGI. Like, we already lost Iron Man, we don't need Iron
Mhm.
Woman. Like, I know she in the
Mhm.
comic books, but
Mhm.
still, like, we got all these other characters you can expand on. Like, you got all the Guardians of the Galaxy, you got Hulk still ain't had a
Mhm.
standalone movie, you got all these other people, and you want to eat off of somebody else's stuff and then not even do a really good job
Exactly.
on it.
Yeah, I felt like they didn't do as good of a job as they could have with Riri. I felt like she could have just been, a little bit more herself, especially with how smart she is.
That's what it
Yeah,
is.
with how smart she is. She was also off the radar even with being as smart as she is. And she's got the government that's paying her to create things for her. So I feel like she should have had way more creativity in order for her to stand aside of Iron Man instead of being behind him. Like she looked like,
Yeah,
she's his long lost daughter or something like that. They even
yeah,
had the same, like, with all the technology you got, why is she still cutting out and hammering parts to a suit?
bro.
So I'm just
I'm like,
like,
bro,
you gotta be kidding me.
she literally just 3D printed a heart shaped herb, and you up here. I was like, I know what y'all trying to do, but when I seen it, I was like, it's so much more you could have done. Like, you could have had her create an Iron Man suit in a whole different way, and it would have been
Hmm.
hard. If she gonna be Iron Man, at least give her some
Yeah.
individuality. Then she's still painting it red.
Still
I'm
painted the
like,
red, bro.
even Pepper Potts' suit is
Yeah, it's like a
purple.
purple or blue or something
Like,
like that. Yeah.
yeah, you had all these options. I don't know, and I felt like they was trying to make Peter Parker like take that mantle. So it's kind of like now you
That
got all
makes
these
sense.
different
Yeah.
Iron Man
Yeah.
things going.
That do
So
make sense because that's exactly what I felt like they were trying to do with Spider Man. I know that's a whole nother thing, but I definitely feel that that's who is supposed to be the successor of Tony's legacy as of right now until they, find a way to.
that was the closest thing to
Oh
his
yeah,
son.
definitely closest thing to his son. But not only that, even him as Spider Man, he has his own personality outside of Tony. You know,
Yeah,
and
like when he made his suit. Yeah, Far From Home, he was in a jet
hmm
making his suit, and he had the song playing in the
hmm
background, and you're like, oh, this paying homage to the first
hmm
Iron Man. But that was it. Like, everything else was him playing with like 3D graphics. You never seen Tony do that in his
right.
thing. Like, he did, but not like
Yeah,
something
yeah.
different.
And
Like,
on
so I
top of
felt
that, it allowed Spidey to actually use a lot of the things that he felt was necessary for his combat. Because remember, Tony gave
yes,
him the glasses, Jarvis, and he didn't even care to use it. Even though he had all this technology literally at the tip of his fingers, he still felt that either he wasn't worthy enough for it or that's not his style. And even when he would make his suits would have the alterations of this is what would work for Spider-Man, but this wouldn't work as much for Iron Man. And whatever Tony had
yeah,
for his Iron Man suit, it worked well for that, but it probably wouldn't work best for me for my combat and my kind of villains that I have to fight and stuff like that. Which is probably another reason why they
yeah,
allow Spider-Man to get blipped away during that, because I don't think that, I mean, I know the budget probably wouldn't have covered it, but I know for a fact that Spider-Man and Iron Man at the same time, that's just too close of the same.
too much
Yeah, too
CGI.
much CGI, too close of the same characters. Like when you see the Avengers, they don't even look
Yeah,
like a group of people that should even be together in the first place. So when you
yeah.
see
You
when you
got
see Spider-Man and Iron Man sit next to each other, you almost kind of see the two, but it's definitely a difference between the
especially
two.
with the Iron Spider suit that he
Oh
got.
yeah, yeah. The Iron Spider suit, yeah. Like you say, it paid great homage and everything like that. But again, I feel like Spider Man it's his own person, his own entity versus Iron Man. But with this with Riri, I felt like they literally just did a copy and paste, and they just trying to reboot the whole Iron Man kind of story all over again, which I'm not too much of a fan about. But it was a
Yeah,
good introduction, though. I will say that because I know they got the Young Avengers that's supposed to be coming up soon. So it's a.
yeah. But all those coming off of the Disney shows, it looked
You don't
like
think Riri gonna be a
so.
part of it with being Ironheart?
Well, I'm just saying she
Mm-hmm.
will, but the rest of them, I don't like how they like. You got. I was talking to somebody about Doctor Strange. You got to watch some Disney shows in this. I mean, you got to make people want to watch all
Of
your
course.
content, but it's hard to follow which timeline
Mm-hmm.
sometimes and this and that.
Yeah.
But I think she'll. I like to see if she expands as well. I think this is her first real suit. I think that, like I said, that whole fight scene. Why would you take? You just lost on your home turf, so you take less people on a big ship to their
Mm-hmm.
turf to get. I felt like that was a
Yeah.
bad strategic move. I am.
That was terrible. Now I get it that they didn't want to have another land fight because they already had the original land fight in Wakanda, but again, it just didn't make any sense. I mean, literally, what when it got down to the point of Namor actually losing the fight against Zuri, and he actually called the and had his troops retreat, they was pushing off. I think the last two or three Wakandans
Yeah,
that was a part of the
it was like
army.
five people
Yeah,
left.
it wasn't
They're
nothing
like,
left
hold the line. You ain't got no choice, bro.
at all, man.
I'm like, y'all brought this big old ship. This ship like 16 stories long, and it's 10 of y'all left. That means something bad has happened.
Hmm.
Um, but we didn't even talk about Shuri's suit and other
Oh yeah,
people's
for sure.
suits.
Yeah, let's talk about the rest of
Uh,
the suits. Zuri suit.
Shuri, her suit was cool because it kind of was like Iron Man's with the nanotech. Like she had like the percussion, sonic rings coming
Hmm.
out and stuff. That was tight. She seemed like she was more agile
Okay.
as far as her
Okay.
moves when she was going down the ship. But it was such a small portion of the movie. Like it felt like for a 3 hour long movie, it was like build up, build up, build up, build up. Let's rush and collapse all this stuff until we want them to feel as like the in game fight scene, but it's really just like really like 10 minutes of them getting their ass whooped by some
Right.
Atlanteans again.
Yeah. I mean, with Zuri's suit, to me personally, I think that her suit was very modern for what's going on in the MCU right now. I just felt that it was underbulked as well. Even, you know, what's your girl name? The one from Thor. Thor's his ex girlfriend.
Love
Yeah,
and
from Love
Thunder,
and Thunder. She looked, yeah, Jane.
Jane,
She looked super bulky in hers. Yeah,
she's
she looked like although I know that she was kind of sick, and so whatever it was that she was doing in order to keep her. Well, it was the power that she had. The power was keeping her alive. But whenever she didn't have the hammer in her hand, yeah, Mjolnir.
Mjolnir.
Whenever she didn't have Mjolnir in her hand, it made her look weak. That I can understand. But Zuri, on the other hand, they could have bulked her suit up. Now I get it, it's nanotech and everything, it's actually taken to her body tone. But
She had that big old
man, her
head.
head was huge. She was stuffing all that hair inside that mug, and then she looked like her feet was.
She braided that shit up at the top and was like, "All right, I'm ready."
Yeah. I
Uh,
don't know. I think the
then
suit looked good though, but again, I mean maybe it was just one of those things I was expecting. Or the last time I actually seen the Black Panther suit, it was uh T'Challa being yeah,
Killmonger,
them being
yeah,
super big and bulky and stuff like that. So that's just what it was underwhelming to me as well. I was expecting her to be a little bit more muscular. You would think so, but I guess she did get kind of
yeah,
sucked into war without having any type of training or anything like that. Yeah,
training,
so that's understandable.
yeah.
Uh, what's the
So
last
then
suit we need to talk about?
the two like battle suits they had for the Warriors,
Oh, the blue and gold ones. Them
yeah,
things look horrible. I yeah, I
I
wasn't a
hated
fan
them.
of
They
them.
kind of reminded me of the fish dude from
Yes,
Hellboy.
that's exactly what it looked like. That's exactly what it
It
looked
was
like,
trash.
and I'm just not a
I
fan
was
of
like,
that
what
at
is
all.
this?
I'm glad they didn't show them as much.
and their powers was
Yes.
weak.
Yeah, I guess it was more so
And
like it didn't really have too much. I guess it was just for them to be able to swim and, intervene with the people.
hold them
Yeah,
back.
just intervene with the people that was underneath the water. That's the only thing I can truly think of.
Yeah. Now I do know that was actually characters in the comics, but I haven't looked too deep into it. But I just feel like strategically again, she was like, "Okay, we need help." So then they called in them too. Why wasn't she out there from the
Right.
beginning? They waited till the end of the fight and then still didn't help.
Didn't help at all, man. But you felt like they were a couple people from like they were called in as far as backup, because I thought that was the two women that were dating each other. I think it was them two.
Nah, it was one of them that was dating each other, and then it was uh
Somebody else.
the general.
Oh, okay.
The
Okay, all right,
general.
for sure, I get you.
But one of them was in each suit, and then they came. They was like, "We need your help," and they, "I'm coming," and then they came and like saved
Oh,
like
okay,
three
okay.
people. And then after this whack fight scene, so their whole plan to get Namor like under their control was they realized that his powers was amplified through oxygen
Hmm.
absorption, and of course, it's more oxygen in the water for him to absorb. That's why he's
Hmm.
more powerful when he's
Right.
swimming. So they got him trapped in one of their aircraft, and they pretty much put him in a super
Hmm.
sauna and
Hmm.
dehydrated him to
Right.
weaken him.
And so I thought that was a really great plan, really great strategy. Of course, their plan was going pretty well. The only thing that really stopped it is just him having that pure vibranium, man. With him having
And being
yeah, I mean,
strong.
it's really the pure vibranium. It was that spirit that he had. It was able to tear,
Yeah,
yeah, it tore
tore
all
through the
through the
ship.
ship, messed up, the entire, I mean, malfunction the entire ship. Good thing they landed on the beach instead of the water, because boy, it been a wrap.
She would have
It
drowned
would have been a
and
wrap.
got her ass whooped.
He would have dragged her straight on back to Atlanta. It's like, oh, come on back with me.
That fight scene still, I think, was
It was
underwhelming.
very underwhelming.
It was like three
Yeah.
minutes long.
For it to be the final one, I think it was underwhelming. Yeah.
Yeah,
But I mean, they kind of was fighting.
like I,
You seen multiple fights throughout the movie, so maybe that's the reason why it was
yeah,
underwhelming. You don't really see as many fights throughout an entire Marvel movie. You got a lot of either dialogue going on, you got a lot of character development going on, but I wouldn't say that you have like full blown fights every other scene, and that's what I felt like you could see in this one. You got the opening scene, you got
yeah,
the water scene where they killed all of the American soldiers and stuff. You got the scene where they um, are trying to escape after they figure out who Riri is. That's three. You got them fighting in Wakanda. That's four. Then you got them fighting in the water. Then yeah, five, shoot, six. That's six. That's six fights right there.
yeah.
So I can see it.
That's what I'm saying. I think it could have been a less is more
Oh,
type of
most
deal though.
definitely, most
Like they should
definitely.
have just for it to be 3 hours long, you could have collapsed it down to two and two and a half. Maybe took out some of the ones that I ain't need to see. Like honestly, you didn't even need to have the whole ship. The first one they first introduced him with the
Nope.
vibranium. I feel like they could have introduced him a different way. He could have just popped up and be like, "I'm Namor."
Yep.
Like that was 30 minutes I
Yeah,
did
it
not need.
was it was
They never
it
mentioned
was
that again.
dragged out. I swear it was so dragged out. And it was just crazy. After it happened, I was like, didn't they already kind of explain that there's vibranium in the water and that, like we already kind of got an idea of that. Maybe it's just us kind of knowing what the plot gonna be when we went into the movie. But I did feel like that scene was really unnecessary. I feel like that might have been the most unnecessary scene out of all of them. If not
Yeah,
that one.
you get to see some of Namor's power because he like throw a helicopter and stuff,
But
but
it's so
you
dark, you
see
can't
it
see nothing.
more in yeah, yeah. You just like this is a dark scene. It's not explaining nothing. I don't know who these
Mhm.
people are. I don't know why they mad.
And I was expect if I honestly push come to shove, that should have been the opening scene. That should have been opening scene. That way, that could have introduced them, and then it could have moved on to, or it could have just started off with the moment of silence like it did. But during that moment of silence, what's going on outside of Wakanda is this. They opened up with the original scene, which they brought the soldiers that they called to the UN meeting, which I felt like that all right there was just something that didn't really have to be a part of the movie at all. But yeah,
I think they was just trying to demonstrate all these people in the world wanting Wakanda, and then she immediately says, "This y'all warning." They go on to do something, and then they people all disappear. So they like it was the
hmm
Wakandans, but they never really meant. I mean, they kind of say, "Oh, the Americans want to do war with Wakanda," but like we all know that they gonna get that ill.
yeah,
So it's like, why
but why
even
even
like
bother?
that was just
Hmm
stupid to bring in the government at all. Like the FBI agent, she was unnecessary. The director of CIA, she was unnecessary. Um, but yeah, back to this last fight. It was just like it was another coming of age moment because after they fought, she was wounded, and then he's walking away limping. She like turns the jet engines
hmm
on him,
Yeah.
fries him, make a fish
hmm
fry, and she got a moment to kill him. But then her true ancestor, her mom, is like, this isn't
Yeah.
who you are. Show him who
Right.
you are. And so instead of killing him, she decides to show peace and mercy so that hopefully that instills to him that there is peace and mercy on earth, on the
hmm
surface. So you don't have to like yield and everybody good. So
This is it.
that's pretty
Yeah, it
much
was
that.
definitely a turning point in the movie. You got Namor, who has is on one end of the spectrum. You know, he's trying to, like you say, sacrifice one for all. And then here it is now the turning point where Zuri could definitely take out the only person that's like them in order to basically disable them all the way down. I mean, I know they could still fight, but they ain't got the leader anymore. But she was also, on the other end trying to show like, look, I could sacrifice you for the greater good up here, but I'm not gonna do that because, it's just not my way of doing things. And, maybe she actually liked what she got when she was underwater. Oh, you never know.
Yeah.
She was real
She's
wet.
like, I like fish. You like tuna?
Right?
um, I do be wondering how they eat and poop in the same. That's a different thing. So for this end scene, they had T'Challa is revealed to have had a son. In where they at? They in they
Yeah,
in
they in
Haiti,
Haiti,
and
yeah.
he got a son that he was hiding
hmm
from the world. I'm not hiding the world from. I'm not hiding you from the world. I'm hiding the world from
hmm
you. Uh, but I don't think that was necessary at all. It didn't do anything
hmm
for me. I didn't see like unless they finna bring back another Black Panther in 15 years and he gonna be it.
But
I'm like, bro, what is this
I
doing?
mean,
He just ain't his real son. I don't think
no,
it's his
no,
real
not in real
son.
life. No, not at all. Um, the only thing that I think that this is doing is just them setting up for the Young Avengers. That's the only thing I can see that being about. And I mean, yeah, everybody,
But she the Black Panther now, so we don't need him.
she is the Black Panther as of right now, and we don't need him anymore. And I mean, of course, they probably not even gonna do anything more with the Black Panther. To be honest, I just don't even think they're gonna do any more with it. What they stop at
Now I would like to see M'Baku become Black
that?
Panther.
That's
Now that would have been a
yeah,
hard
that
Black
would have been
Panther.
good. That would have been good. I mean, it would have definitely not went the way that we seen it, of course. But it,
Well, he's calmed down. It's kind of like sure he did this and he
hmm
did this.
I agree.
Like I like his character development where he's like more wise and still a badass.
It's
But
very possible that she might even, give him that now that she knows how to create
it
the.
don't seem like she wanted.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she not only do she not want it, but she don't feel as if she's worthy enough for it either. She don't feel like she's on the level of, all the previous Black Panthers. She, almost really didn't even gain it properly, just like how Killmonger didn't gain it properly either. So, I mean, but
Yeah.
again, I just think that they are setting up all the young folks for the young Avengers and everything like that. But yeah, they kind of it's sad, man. I hate to say it, but they going away with all the people that we kind of grew up on, and I know all great things must come to an end, but I just hope that Marvel and the MCU can hold it tight, can hold it together throughout these next few phases, and can bring us some great stuff like they did with these last few movies.
So you think it's gonna be a three or no? Or should there be a
Yeah, it should
three?
most definitely be a three. If it's not going to be a three, they should definitely have. M'Baku become the Black Panther because it is possible for more than one person to be the Black Panther based on the comic books. So he can be the Black Panther, and then if he is going to be cameoed into the movies like the previous T'Challa was, then yeah, I say go for it. Because me personally, I enjoyed Black Panther and the Avengers movies outside of the actual Black Panther movie.
Yeah, Civil War was probably one of my best seeing of him. Like he was chasing down Winter Soldier through the streets. I'm like, yeah, this dude
Hmm.
cool. Um,
Yep.
yeah, I think that was one of my favorite
Yep,
parts of
that
him.
scene, and then even the
Avengers,
scene. What
not
was
really.
what was that other scene that they had them in where they were fighting each other at that airport thing? They kind of, I think they were at the airport,
Oh yeah,
and
yeah,
that's
yeah,
when they had them both kind of line up with each other, where they had
yeah.
Team
That was
Cap.
an
Oh
epic
yeah,
scene there.
Team Cap versus Team I Iron Man.
Iron
That's
Man.
like Iron Man. Yep. So
Yeah,
I mean, yes, they should make a three,
just do it
but yeah,
right.
just do it right. And I feel like this ain't even a Black Panther 2, to be honest. Like,
It's 1.5.
yeah, it's one of them. It's one of them that, remember how they used to have like the Toy Story in between movies and stuff like that. Yeah, I felt
Yeah,
like that's what this really should have been. Because, like I said, it was a great tribute and memorial for Chadwick Boseman. But then they introduced a lot of great characters that they could do more with later on, and it just kind of concludes the actual Black Panther, storyline right there. So it did what it was supposed to do.
yeah.
I give it a good
Would you
7 out of 10. I give it a good 7 out of 10. Would I go watch the movie again
compare it to the
compared to the
first one?
first one? Mm,
What
compared to
was the
the
first one?
first one, I'm not a big fan of the first one. I love
Mm,
the character T'Challa and what he's doing with it, but the first movie it didn't really stick to me. I really hate to say it.
I didn't like the.
What you didn't like?
I don't. I don't be liking when they make something. I don't need to hear about the world in my fiction
Exactly.
movies.
Yeah.
Like they made it too about that cause. I'm like, bro, I am not here for that. Like it was so many. I went to HBCU. I go there. Everybody's like, Wakanda
Man,
forever, Black rights, this, that. And that. I'm like, bro, I am here to watch
man,
fictional
I'm telling
television.
you,
Shut
I
up.
don't give a rat. And then even with Killmonger coming and saying like, "Oh man, y'all ain't helping out with the rest of the black people in the world." I grew up in South Central LA. My dad, I watched him get gunned down at a young age, and I grew up without a father. Like, bro, I'm so sick and tired of hearing that story, man.
That same
Dang, I'm sick
narrative,
and tired of hearing that
same
narrative. And
narrative.
they really took that, which they could have done so many other things about the black community if that's what they were trying to do as far as including the black community into this. You didn't have to go
Hmm.
to the bottom of the barrel and grab the trauma that so many of us, not including us, but so many of us that
Yeah,
had to endure.
have seen
Yeah,
firsthand.
like okay.
They could have easily, if they wanted to steal a story, they could have stole The Pursuit of Happiness. My daddy sat around here selling fax machines to people. I had to sleep in the bathroom. He's still alive, but we mad
We
about it.
mad
Like,
about it,
cool.
right? Like man,
So
I
yeah,
think that.
I would probably give them both like a. I give first Black Panther 8, 7.5, 8, just because it was like some good fight scenes in there. It was some good like that was the first we've seen a lot of Wakanda in
Mhm.
that sense. And then I give this one like a 7, 6.5, 7. I did see it twice because I
Oh,
went on
okay.
a date, but it wasn't like something I was really wanted to do. I'm like, we can go see the Whitney Houston movie. She like, no.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say I'd see it
So
twice, but that's definitely the reason why I really don't care to watch either one of them anymore. It's just they
you know what else I don't like
what?
about this movie? The villain, his reasoning. Like if you think about it, he hated
Yep,
women, he
yep.
hated black people,
It sure did.
he hated he hated humans. Like he hated everything that I
Everything,
love.
bro.
I hate black people. I mean, I love black people. I love
Hmm.
women. I love
Hmm.
living. Like he tried to kill all of it. He
And you
just
hate the and
I
you
don't
hate
think
the
they thought
water
about that.
as much as you be out there on it. You don't
Yeah,
care to be out there for real
I be in the
and
ocean. I hate
can't
it.
stand it. Yeah.
So what you think they're gonna do with this in February? We got Ant Man Quantumanium. You think they're gonna do
Yeah,
good
man,
with that?
they can't mess up Ant Man. The first Ant Man was amazing.
You like Kane though, don't you?
Uh, I really need to get into Kane, man. I have not watched Loki yet, and so
Oh yeah, that's the only time
yeah, I
they
know, and
introduce him.
that's what I'm saying. I have to really get into him like that. So I have yet to watch Loki, but I know a lot about Kane, and so I do like Kane. It's just gonna be real hard. I think it's gonna be. I don't think it's gonna be difficult for them, but I find it difficult for myself to really try to keep up with what they're gonna do with Kane. Kane is gonna be one of them people that's gonna be in all places, damn near at all times. So many.
Because he controls like the
Yeah,
multiverse,
of
so
course.
he's better
Yep,
than
he is.
Thanos.
But see, that's the even more crazier thing. He knew Thanos was gonna do. He playing God, like he's the, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying. But every person and every Kane that sees him understands that he is not the last one, and that he has to fulfill his mission in order to make sure that the next one succeeds as well and stuff like that. So ultimately, I think Kane is gonna be good because he's gonna be one of the people that you know seems as if he doesn't stop until he actually gets what he wants.
I will say Ant Man is one of the most underrated Avengers
Oh,
series.
most definitely.
Because like I be forgetting he a superhero because they're just throwing him in the Avengers. They don't show him no spotlight, but his standalones is fire.
They are really good
Like
movies.
and they
Yes,
funny. They're some of the funniest
yes,
ones
I
too.
agree.
I like the first one better than the second one. I don't think I liked Samuel. I didn't like the little ghost girl. She was kind of like weird. She was mad about stuff, but I think they'll do good. Like the technology in this. I already got questions like how they get suits down there. We'll talk about
Hmm.
that later. But I think one last reason why I didn't like Black Panther is because like I don't think it set us up at all for what we're gonna see
The
in
next few phases.
Quantumania. Like I was expecting more of a bridge, kind of like Doctor Strange didn't give us the appropriate bridge that we
Spider
needed for
Man.
the multiverse. Because I thought that was going to be Spider Man. Then they went with the WandaVision deal.
Well, that's what they were
Speaking
supposed to be
of,
doing. Speaking of, go ahead.
mm, if you watch, you say you haven't seen Loki. Once you finish Loki, if you watch the last five, like last 30 seconds of Loki and the last 30 seconds of WandaVision, they set it up. So, just a quick spoiler: Kang is sitting there and he's telling them how he can see in the future, like you said, like I'm not the first,
Hmm.
I'm not the last. And he's like, I know everything that's gonna happen, so y'all can't kill me. But when Wanda becomes the Scarlet Witch, that she breaks the multiverse, and he stops, and he's like, oh, this is the first time I don't know what's gonna happen, and so like stuff pop off from there. So like it's like perfectly synced. I saw like a Snapchat of it where like they was both going at the same time. It's the minute became Scarlet Witch and broke the multiverse was the minute he stopped being able to predict the future.
Wow.
So
Okay, that's gonna be deep. And that just right there probably either goes to show you that Wanda ain't dead for real, bro. She stopped herself.
she got different
Oh yeah, for
multiverses
sure.
too.
Yeah,
So
and I mean, the inside of the multiverse of madness, it was the actual Wanda that killed herself, but she did learn how to actually travel her conscious throughout the rest of. Oh yeah, for
to
sure. So it's so I think the minute when that whole building collapsed and you saw that red beam kind of close up too, that was her leaving that body, her conscious leaving that body and then heading over to another one. So she
but you also know she on par with Jean Grey, the
facts. Yep.
Phoenix,
Yeah. Basically
and the
going
Phoenix
rogue.
didn't
Yeah.
die.
Nah.
So
Yeah. But she
yeah,
going rogue.
she was collapsed by all that water and
Still reemerge.
she
Yeah, for sure.
survived. So she's so powerful.
And she
Yeah.
is the most powerful in the universe. So I will say that that is going to be very interesting to see. It's going to be dope that Kane is going to bounce through all of the different movies, just like how Thanos, bounced through the movies with between phase what 2 and 3, and then
After he was in the first Avengers, and then after that, like those four movies, he was like
mhm,
cameoing at the end
he
credits.
was he was
But
in.
also,
I mean, well, the first person was Ultron, though, right? The first villain was Ultron that they had.
nah, the first villain was Loki, and Loki was getting he like Thanos supplied the aliens that Loki attacked New York with.
Oh, okay. That's right. All right, cool. I got you.
Yeah, but the only last thing I got for this is the only good thing that came out of Black Panther Wakanda Forever was that they introduced Namor as an official
Yeah,
mutant. So that officially allows them to bridge that into
yeah.
the MCU. So we can get like Quicksilver, Magneto, Wolverine with Deadpool,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah. I
So
mean, it's crazy that Namor is the first mutant that's actually introduced to the MCU, but they've been playing and showing so many of the what do you want to call it? Just from all the other different universes, you've seen what's the doctor from the Fantastic Four? Mr. Fantastic. Yeah,
Or
Reed
Reed
Richards.
Richards.
He's in the movie. I mean, he's technically a mutant, but he's in a whole nother different universe for other than what's that
The
616?
Fox
Yeah.
universe.
So they dragged him in from there. They also dragged in Xavier. So this supposedly is going to be the first mutant. Yeah,
That's,
it's just that these other mutants have been,
he in this
yeah, but all these
universe.
other mutants been bouncing around
Yeah.
back and forth. Like, have you ever seen where they talk about the cameos and like the stuff that they put in the Spider-Man movies about the Fantastic Four and about I don't know if that's
I
yeah,
ain't seen that. Oh, they put like the Baxter building in the Fantastic Four
right.
game and
So you can
stuff
see the
like that.
building getting built. You know that Reed Richards is somewhat of a person. He ain't necessarily Mr. Fantastic, but he is a person in the universe.
He hasn't had his
He
accident
probably ain't
yet,
had it.
probably.
Okay, all right. Well, then that's probably gonna be it. Then that got to be it because, like I say, he is the first mutant that's introduced, which allows them to bring in all these other characters. It's just that we somewhat know of other mutants being around them. It's just that nobody knows in the actual movies that there's mutants around them. He's the first one to actually
Mm-hmm.
emerge and be like, "Yes, I am."
Be
Yep.
exposed.
So that's good. I like that they brought
Yeah.
that in. It's definitely gonna take a crazy turn because we about to be off in space with the space wars. We about to have a whole. It's
They gonna see the Fast and Furious driving by. What y'all
what
doing
the
out
hell y'all doing
here?
out here?
For family, my brother. Go ahead and save the universe. We'll
Right.
save our
I
family.
am
Yeah.
Groot.
He can't be
Yeah,
double
you
dipping.
know he
But
is.
yeah, that's the next. After that, we got that. So I'm
Yeah, man.
excited.
We got Guardians
But this, I
coming,
think
man. We
this is
got
a
Ant
good
Man coming.
good episode.
Yeah, no, this was a really great episode. We did good, man. I'm excited for the next one too. We gotta what's the
Oh
next one
yeah,
we gotta do? It's probably not gonna be a Marvel movie.
Megan, you gotta
Yeah,
go
I
see
think
that.
about going to go see it tonight. I
You
think
gotta
I'm gonna
see
go see it
Megan.
tonight.
Do
All
it,
right.
bro. For PG-13, that movie it hit. We gonna talk about it when
Okay.
you go
All right.
see
That's
it.
a bit, man.
All right,
All
bro. I'll
right. It
talk to
was
you
good
later.
talking to you, man. We'll catch y'all on next
All
episode.
right,
Be
peace out,
good.
y'all.